Hey, everybody, it's Doug Green, and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. And I'm very pleased to have with us again Robert Galop. Robert, thank you for joining me.
Doug, great being here, as always.
And we also have our good friend Kevin Nethercott. Thank you for joining me, Kevin, again.
As always, absolutely.
So we're going to be talking about Creo solutions. We're also going to be reflecting on, we just sort of wrapped up a very action-packed first quarter. We were just discussing lots of shows, lots of events, lots of ideas. And let's jump right into it, gentlemen. We had, Mobile World Congress. We had Enterprise Connect. Those are two kind of milestone events for the year. What did we see? What should we be like absorbing now that they're in the rear view mirror?
I'll say at both of those shows, and actually we had channel partners, we had IT Expo. This was a very, very long show season this quarter. And pretty consistently what I noticed on the show floor was that AI is finding its place. So Enterprise Connect last year, it looked like everybody was talking about AI. They didn't really have a use case for it yet, but AI was on every billboard. Everybody was talking about it. This year, what we actually saw was that AI is actually finding use cases, and it's blending into the feature set rather than being the headliner. So we were really excited, and we had talked with quite a few companies that are doing some really, really cool stuff with AI, impacting customer experience, impacting revenue and sales, as well as the employee experience.
And Kevin, would you say the same thing? We haven't talked about mobility as much yet.
Yeah, I think definitely I would agree on the AI piece, though. I think you still have to peel the onion back 2 or 3 layers to see what's really there. There still is a lot of clever marketing that there's a lot of copying from booth to booth, company to company. So you definitely have to do your due diligence. But to Robert's point, it is becoming more of the feature set versus just 2 letters on a booth. If we look at Mobile World Congress, that's in Barcelona. It was the first week of March this year. And I don't know, we had north of 100,000 people there this year. So
Wow.
it's literally like a mile from one end to the other. There's actually 2 train stations on each end of it. And so that gives you a sense of the size and scope. Every major carrier operator, vendor from all over the world ends up in Barcelona for that week. And so it's exhausting. At the same time, it's exciting, and you're able to see friends and colleagues from throughout the years, as they're always there. But when you look at what was there, I think clearly AI played a piece in it. Network APIs was, it was the top thing, I think, last year. And it was interesting. Similarly, we're starting to see some use cases there on how you're able to use the mobile network now through APIs to enhance the customer experience. And so I think that was really big. There's some simple examples of that, where through a network API, we're going to be able to replace the SMS one-time password, which is so cumbersome, right? You get the digits, you fat finger them. It's not a good user experience. And so now with network APIs, the network knows who you are, and so they can authenticate you real time through an application. And so it goes from a 12-second experience to a sub 1 second experience. So things like that, I think, are really impactful and real. We're hearing from companies like Meta and others that they're going away from SMS and will prefer the network API as a solution for their one-time passwords. So it's actually making an impact in the market as well. Cool quality of service use cases. There are people flying drones and helicopters and autonomous cars, where making sure that you have the exact bandwidth you need to not crash into the side of a mountain or run into a building is we're also well represented with some robots. And so it was a very interesting technical show for sure.
It sounds, guys, like what I'm hearing is what we normally see when a new shiny technology starts to mature just a little bit. that we're beyond what you just said, Kevin. The sort of really interesting. We're going to have a pilotless helicopter, or whatever. To we can use AI combined with cloud, combined with some mobility to do something, to create a convenience that didn't exist before, to shorten the amount of time, to make something more secure.
Yeah,
right. Absolutely. And I think that's where this leads into the broader conversation, in the sense that these technologies are now making their way into UCaaS and CCaaS and CPaaS. And we have some really concrete use cases there where we're seeing operators and CSPs and MSPs, being able to double their revenue in some of these situations. And so, it's becoming very practical in how this can be used.
yeah,
Well, guys, I think I came to the right shop to talk about CPaaS.
Yeah, for sure. I'll also add on to what Kevin mentioned. So all of these new features that are getting baked in, they're actually changing the B2B buyer's perspective on these technologies, right? So one number that I recently saw was that 70% of B2B buyers, if these new features aren't baked in to the UCaaS and the CCaaS platform that they're using right now, they're going to be looking elsewhere when it comes time for renewal. So a lot of the service provider customers that we're working with are asking questions right now about what are these things that I need to be adding in, and how do I do that? How do I approach it? What are the things that I need to bake in now? And we're starting to see at least the leading edge CSPs and MSPs that have been thinking about this for a while. We're working with them to bring these pieces to market. And as Kevin mentioned, we're seeing a lot of opportunity for service providers in general to 2x their revenue by adding these in. So you're reducing churn and you're increasing revenue. It's a win-win. But we're also seeing a growing number of service providers that haven't been thinking about this start to reach out and say, how quickly can I get some of these things baked into my platform? Because I am starting to get questions from my customers. I am starting to get into pricing discussions. And I was just on a call with a service provider CEO the other day, where while we're on the call, he gets a call from one of his customers, and what are they doing? They're saying, well, let's talk about pricing and let's talk about features, right? So he hangs up the phone. He's like, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
That's really interesting that we're at a very interesting, lively moment, if you will, right? That you're saying, on the one hand, there's a great opportunity. There are actually multiple great opportunities. However, if you're not already involved in those opportunities, people are going to start poaching your base.
Yeah, we've seen that firsthand.
So this is sort of a mix, right? Sorry about that, Kevin.
No, I was just saying absolutely. And I think what's really key on this, Doug, is that I've been at this a little while, right? So I started my career really when voice over IP started. So we were going, this huge transition as an industry. And we're at a point in time now, whatever that is, 20 some odd years later, where it's the same buzz in the air. It's the same excitement. I don't think as an industry we've had this type of opportunity to really change who my organization is, who my customers are, how to service them. The upside opportunity on this for those organizations that get it is literally astronomical. And so I'm so excited about how AI is coming in, new IETF standards that are being brought into the mix. And when you have an installed base that can now leverage these new pieces, it can be magical for an organization if they've got the guts to kind of move forward and play in this new world.
That's really interesting. So you've got to start to embrace it, is the point, right? In other words, it sounds like people are at all different points. They're ahead of it, they're behind the curve, somewhere in the middle. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. And what's really encouraging, we've been working with a number of CEOs over the last year who got it early, and they've been pushing the market forward. But they have other CEOs in the industry that they're now starting to reach out and say, hey, you guys need to be thinking about X, Y, and Z, right? Thinking about communications automation, thinking about analytics and AI. And they're comfortable talking about that now because they're starting to make progress in getting those products out to their customers and changing, one, how their customers think about them, but also how they themselves, their sales team, their marketing team, everybody in the company thinks about what they're doing for their end customers.
Yeah, so I think to that point, what we're finding is that CEOs are seeing the opportunity, and but they need a little help. And so I think that's where, as Creo, we can kind of step in and help facilitate some of that.
So Robert, yeah, let's jump into that. Let's drill down into what you guys at Creo are actually doing with your clients, how you're helping people facilitate these opportunities, actually make them happen.
Yeah, so we're a couple of things we're seeing a big focus on, and we're actually pushing with our customers are one around communications automation. So you're seeing the enterprise users look for more things and better ways to increase or engage with their customers, better ways to be more responsive to their customers. And this is where communications automation comes in. And what's really interesting here is a lot of service providers think they can't provide those types of services, but by partnering with Creo Solutions, we're able to come in, help them through the sales process, and actually get these things out in front of the customers and help build them. So that communications automation piece is critical. Every enterprise is looking for that right now, and every service provider should be thinking about how they offer that. And then the other piece, Kevin mentioned new IETF standards. So there's new standard that we've been talking about in the market quite a bit called vCons, which is enabling service providers to capture every customer conversation and turn that into insights and data for their enterprise customers. That piece is really starting to take off. So we're working with several, actually, we've got 3 service providers that are launching with these new vCon-based services this month. And one of our recent launches, the service provider actually used that technology that they're going to sell to their customers. They actually saved 2 of their customers because they were able to capture insights from the customer conversations coming through their help desk, and details that didn't get captured in the CRM actually got captured through these analytics. And the CEO immediately saw that, hey, these 2 customers are churn risk. They're not happy with the process, and they immediately jumped on solving those customer problems. And the feedback from the customers was, you guys did such an awesome job here. We're never going to another service provider again.
So Robert, if I understood you correctly, what's really amazing about this is the data is already there. It's already on the network. You're utilizing something that's already being developed, but that the customer hasn't had access to and needs.
Yeah. Think about the millions of calls flowing across your network and millions of minutes every month, and you're not doing anything with those conversations. You don't even know what's being said. You can't provide any analytics on it. This new technology wraps around all of those pieces, and we're actually deploying customers in less than 30 days and getting them access to all of that really rich content and getting them able to deliver those insights and deliver that new functionality back to their customers.
So Kevin, that's pretty fast ramp up speed. How's Creo pulling that off?
Well, Robert doesn't like to talk about himself very often, but I look at what he did at IntelliPeer back in the day when they brought him in, and they were essentially a SIP trunking company. And he turned them into a voice automation company. And so he's been there, done that, and has some real experience in increasing the value of the company, doubling, tripling, quadrupling revenue. And so that's kind of our playbook here at Creo, is to take that experience that we've had along with some other global partners that are part of Creo Solutions and wrap the technology around some advisory services. What we're finding is that organizations are excited about this new stuff, But they don't necessarily maybe have a CTO or a CMO that understands the space. And so it takes a little bit of understanding to really roll it out properly. And so we've created some really, I think, powerful templates on how we can help, operator owners, these organizations transition their business from where they've been and successfully been, and bring these new technologies in. And so we spend time with them talking to their customers so we understand their needs. And we spend time with their executive team to make sure they're aligned. We have this blue sky process that we run them through to make sure that they're aligned with their goals and vision for the market. We help train their salespeople. And then ultimately we have our own development teams and integration teams that we can actually step in and help them implement this on an operational perspective. So it really is kind of a soup to nuts approach. And based on our personal experiences and our broader network experience, we can really hone in on exactly what they need to do to make an impact this quarter. I think that's the underlying thing, is we know that we can double their revenue over the next 12 to 18 months from a broader perspective. But if they've got large deals that they're trying to close, we can step in and help them close those and really kind of put the ship in this new, really exciting direction and help facilitate a lot of business for them through our partnerships.
Yeah. So as Kevin mentioned, we're helping with rolling these things out. So I'm actually involved with a couple of deals with our customers right now. One is a $100,000 plus communications automation deal. Another one is with a large national franchise with an analytics deal that's probably going to be $200,000 plus. And we're attacking these deals with urgency, right? It's April. We're already in Q2. I've lived the dream of, you're already missing your numbers by April. What am I going to do before the end of this quarter to make my numbers right? And so we're actually embedded with our CSP customers and our MSP customers, helping them move these deals forward and identifying ways to uplift value on these deals, but also ways to accelerate them.
Gentlemen, as we finish up today, it sort of strikes me that this is one of those opportunities I think we began talking about this last fall, maybe in October or September, did a couple of podcasts then, and it was still sort of a little bit theoretical. And now you're talking about actually you're closing deal after deal. But if I'm an MSP or channel partner and I haven't really gotten started, is this hard to do? I mean, can I really get involved?
It's so straightforward. That's what's so amazing about this. We've been bringing CSPs up in 2 or 3 days, and so they're immediately getting the impact of moving to this new technology because it's so powerful, right? So if I'm a business owner, I literally know every word that's taking place between my team and my customer. So whether that's voice, text, web chat, even email, there's even a fax plugin. So the need for this from a business owner perspective is just game changing. People have been calling it silver bullet, holy grail, all these phrases that we've thrown around for years. I've been at this a little while, and I think it actually is. And so the ability to implement that quickly, that's where we can come in this quarter and actually make an impact on someone's revenue as we partner and put this to market. And we're looking for partners to do that.
So the good news is this is an easy to be involved in opportunity. The caution is you don't want to be left behind. This will spread quickly, and you might be poached by someone who's doing it already.
Yep, we're definitely seeing that out there. Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I really want to thank you for joining me today. This has been really interesting. I'm looking forward to an update on this. I know there's going to be new news soon, but where can we learn more about Creo Solutions?
Visit us at creosolutions.tech, Creo solutions.tech. We're also, if you're in the Cape Cod area, we'll be at the vCon Summit here at the end of this month, sharing a lot of this cool stuff that we've actually been talking about and showing how service providers, MSPs and CSPs can bring these things quickly to market.
Gentlemen, again, thank you, and we'll see you at that conference too.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Doug.